Hi, everyone, and welcome to our Document Filters 22.1 features preview. I'm Corey Kidd, and I'm your product manager, and I'm joined today by Kaylee Berry, who is our product owner. So the goal of this presentation today is to just go over some of the highest level, biggest features coming out in our next release of Document Filters. So let's take a look at some of what we got coming up. The first thing we're going to talk about is a release version number change for Document Filters. Following that, we're going to talk a little bit about some new features. First one being what we call the HD comment extraction for certain Office file types, including Word, Excel, and PowerPoint. After that, we're going to take a look at the updated fallback logic that we've implemented. And last but not least, we'll be looking at some M1 support for the newest version of MacOS X, Monterey. With that said, I'll go ahead and turn over to Kaylee to talk about the release version number change.
Thanks, Corey. So our previous schema for our releases was a 2-digit year followed by the month. We are now switching this to be a 2-digit year followed by the release per year. This upcoming release will be 22.1, and then every subsequent release for 2022 will be followed by a iterating second number. Document Filters will still be maintaining our frequent release schedule, so the only thing that's changing is our version number.
All right, thank you, Kaylee. That said, let's go ahead and start hopping into some of these new features we've got coming up here. The first one we think is really great is the HD comment extraction for Word, Excel, and PowerPoint. Now, what is this? It's the ability to extract text and comments from Word, Excel, and PowerPoint files, of course. Now, we wanted to make sure that we specified this is HD, so we're actually getting more information than we would have previously with text mode. You could always kind of get the text out of comments, but now you can get the position on the page, information about the author, just additional metadata from those annotations, from those comments. And that can hold a lot of important meaning to you depending on, what space you're in. For our e-discovery, archiving, search customers, this can be huge. Being able to make summary pages, being able to output those comments in new renditions can be a pretty big deal. So we wanted to do a quick demo, take a look at what capabilities is this really providing us. It's easy to talk about it, but let's take a look at some of what the options are here. So what I've got here is it's a sample Word document, and you'll have to forgive me, I have dark mode on, so the rendition will look a little bit different. But we've got a sample Word document with some comments on it. We've got Corey Kidd, he's a great product manager. Kaylee Butler is an awesome product owner. And Ben Truscott's an excellent architect. And then we've got this comment extraction, which is the best feature ever. So we've got some comments on here, and I want to turn this thing into a PDF though. So I have modified our convert document to PDF sample. So if you have Document Filters installed on your machine, this is part of the sample code. It's pretty easy to modify yourself. You could make these changes if you want to. Now, the first thing I've done here is I've gotten all the annotations, so var annotations equals page.annotations. And then what I do when we actually go to render the document on those pages is for each annotation, I just output it. Now, I've got that document open. I actually already ran the conversion on it. So let's take a look at the PDF. Okay, so now we've got the PDF open. We can take a look and see, oh, okay, that little for loop, that's all it took to actually put all of these, these red boxes. And we can see that these are native annotations in Foxit. They're actually on there as selectable things that we can interact with. So that little for loop was all it took to do that. Now, we wanted to take a look at some of the other options, and that was to create a summary page. Sometimes people, you just want a list of the comments, or you want something, there's some other way you want to interact with them. You're not always just wanting to put them right back into the document. So I did a quick example, here's a summary page. We'll take a quick look at the code it took to do that. Now, this was just kind of getting a little bit creative with some of the tools Document Filters already has. We're using the canvas to make a blank page with the same height and width as the previous page. We're establishing a brush. And then what we're doing is we're actually going in and we're just using some of our canvas text out options to iterate over the annotation array that we had established previously, and just putting those out to strings. And ultimately, that's going to be what gives us that summary page. Now, that's just one example of something that you could do with that. If you had other ways that you wanted to process or, feed those annotations into somewhere else, all perfectly doable. We're just giving some examples of things that you could, kind of play around with here. All right. So that covers our HD comment extraction support. And we're going to go ahead and move on to our updated font fallback logic. So, what does this mean? When rendering documents, document filters is attempting to use a font that's indicated in the original document. And if it's not there, we're going to attempt to find a suitable substitute on the host system. Now, we can have some problems that come up if a font's not there or something that's not, visually close to it isn't there. So what we've done is we've updated our logic to support more than a single fallback font. We're going to look through kind of multiple fonts there to try to find the one that's visually closest to what you're trying to convert. So this is going to be a big notable improvement for non-Latin languages like Hebrew, where the glyphs we're more often missing, especially on environments like Linux or container-based deployments where you have fewer system fonts. So we did want to take a quick look at what this means for us as well. And we're going to do that, we're going to do two conversions. And we've got a lorem ipsum file here with a couple different languages, from all around the world. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to take that file and I'm going to convert it on an older version of document filters. So this is pre-font fix here. Now, if I open this up, what we're going to see is there's going to be a couple of glyphs missing from certain sections of these. That's because we just could not find a suitable fallback. So yeah, there's some missing text there. Now let's take a look at the behavior in a new version of document filters. Sorry, that's the wrong window. There we go. And I'm doing my conversion again. And here is my new file. And we can see this time it's converted properly. It's got all of the glyphs. Everything's there. It looks great. This is a good looking document. That font fallback has worked properly for us. All right. So that covers our font fallback piece. And now we get to one of our last pieces that we wanted to talk about today, which was the Mac M1 support. We did want to note that as of today, this is only tested on Monterey, not Big Sur. So we would just, we can investigate kind of Big Sur going forward, depending on, customer interest. So the Mac M1, for anyone unfamiliar, has been a new chip that's been designed for Apple systems, and it marks the transition away from Intel chips that we've kind of been using since 2006. Document Filters 22.1 is adding native support for running on M1 processors. So now you can deploy your applications without having to rely on the Rosetta emulator. At least Document Filters will not be the piece holding that up there. So within our last couple of releases, we've also added support for Apple Pages, Numbers, Keynote. So really with 22.1, we're giving you a lot of flexibility on Apple devices with the ability to analyze, process, and transform common Apple file types on their devices natively. Now let's take a quick look at this. We just want to see it running on an Apple machine. And please forgive my VNC connection if it's slow. But here we can see I do have macOS Monterey pulled up here. We've got the new document filters kind of pulled up there. And then I have a pages document named Bake Shop Training. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and run my conversion and get back over to my Finder here. We can see Bake Shop Training. That's the PDF that was just generated. And if I open it, looks great. So that is us running natively on macOS on an M1 Monterey machine. I hope that looks great for all of you, and I hope that that gives you all the same benefit that we think it will. With that said, that covers, some of the big things that we wanted to cover today. Kaylee, do you have any kind of closing notes?
Yeah, thank you for joining us today, and please head over to Highland's community site to view our blog posts, read our release notes, and access the new release.
All right. Thank you for joining, everybody.